Hello, English learners, and welcome back to the Let's Talk English Podcast. I'm Emily, and my today's guest is Mike. We're really happy you're here with us today.
Great to be here.
And welcome, everyone, to a deep dive. Today, we're diving into something super useful, I think, for pretty much anyone who travels.
Oh, yeah. What kind?
Navigating the whole hotel experience, checking in smoothly, dealing with any little hiccups that might pop up, and maybe, just maybe, getting lucky with an upgrade.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's definitely a common situation. And it sounds like we've got some good stuff to unpack, practical steps, maybe some useful language.
Exactly. We're aiming to pull out the key info, the useful phrases, so you feel, prepared and confident next time you're standing at that check-in desk. Maybe even turn a regular stay into something a bit more special.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We have this story about someone checking into a hotel, a guy named Anthony Roberts.
Right. And he's just turning up expecting his room, correct? Like he made a reservation for a standard room, nothing fancy.
Yep. Pretty standard stuff. But things take a little twist almost immediately. The receptionist is checking the system and, well, there's a mix-up.
A mix-up. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and it's because the hotel is apparently overbooked.
Ah, the classic combo.
Yeah?
Mix-up and overbooked. So more people booked than they actually have rooms for.
Exactly. And because of this particular situation, this mix-up and the overbooking, Anthony gets, well, quite a nice surprise.
Okay, I like surprises like this. What happens?
They offer him a complimentary upgrade.
Nice. Complimentary meaning free.
Totally free. And not just any upgrade. He gets bumped all the way from his standard room to the presidential suite.
Wow. Okay. That's quite the jump. Talk about a mix-up working in your favor for once. Captures that sort of unexpected travel magic that can happen sometimes.
Absolutely. And that whole scenario is a brilliant way to introduce some really practical vocabulary. Let's break down those key terms. First one, under the name.
Right. Crucial phrase. You use it to tell the hotel, or maybe a restaurant too, whose booking they should be looking for. It just means, the reservation is registered to this specific person.
So you'd walk up and say, hi, I have a reservation under the name Smith, or whatever your name is.
Exactly. Or maybe your assistant booked it for you, so she made the reservation under my name. Or the hotel staff might ask you, do you have a reservation under the name? It's just how you identify your booking.
Simple, but you absolutely need it for that first step. Okay, next word. Mix up.
Mix up. We heard that one in Anthony's story. It basically means a confusion, right? A misunderstanding, an error.
Yeah, and some of the examples used to explain it are quite memorable.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, like a mix-up at baggage claim, meaning your luggage accidentally gets sent to, Antarctica.
Okay, that's a pretty big mix-up.
Or the other one was, I'm sorry, sir, there's been a terrible mix-up. We've given you the wrong baby.
Whoa. Okay, hopefully hotel mix-ups aren't that dramatic. But it gets the point across. It's an error. Something went wrong because things got confused.
Definitely. And those mix-ups can sometimes lead to the hotel being overbooked.
Right. Overbooked. A word travelers often dread hearing. It means the hotel, or maybe an airline, has sold more rooms or seats than they actually have available.
They're literally more than full. They can't fit everyone in who has a booking.
Yeah, it's a capacity problem. And, while it's frustrating for travelers, it happens quite a bit in the travel industry, unfortunately. Applies to buses and trains, too, sometimes.
But as we saw with Anthony, sometimes being overbooked can lead to something positive. The complimentary upgrade.
Ah, yes, the golden phrase. Complimentary upgrade. It means you get a better room, or maybe a better seat on a plane, something more expensive, but you get it for free.
Usually because they couldn't give you what you originally booked, like in an overbooked situation. But maybe sometimes for other reasons, too, like being a loyal customer.
Possibly, yeah. Or just luck of the draw sometimes. But the classic case is definitely because of overbooking. The common airline example is getting bumped from economy to business or first class without paying a dime extra because your original section was full.
It's the unexpected perk that can come out of a potentially annoying situation like overbooking.
And speaking of unexpected perks, there are a couple of real stories about this happening.
Oh, cool. Real life examples. Tell me more.
Okay, so one was about a train trip in India. The train was overbooked, standard situation. But this person actually talked to the station manager about it.
Okay.
And they ended up getting a complimentary upgrade to first class on the train.
Wow. Okay, so sometimes talking it through calmly, even when there's a problem, can really pay off, maybe even better than the original plan.
Exactly. It shows that polite communication can sometimes unlock solutions. And the other story involved a flight, I think, from Shanghai to Qatar.
Yeah. What happened there?
This person was just sitting in economy, and then, well, they said for some reason they got upgraded to first class.
Just like that. Nice.
Yeah. You could really feel the surprise and like the sheer joy in the story. They talked about having a 5-course meal, unlimited drinks, the works.
That's fantastic. It really shows these upgrades aren't just myths. They actually happen and can create some pretty amazing travel memories. Those stories are definitely nice to hear, but okay, let's get practical. We also have a kind of roadmap for just handling the normal check-in process smoothly, even if you don't snag the presidential suite.
Right, starting with being prepared before you even leave home or get to the hotel. This groundwork is key.
So what are the absolute must-haves? You need your booking confirmation, right? Good idea to have it printed maybe, but definitely on your phone.
Mm-hmm. And a valid photo ID, of course.
Yeah.
Passport, driver's license, something like that. And your payment method, usually a credit or debit card for the room and any potential incidentals.
And it's not just documents. You should also know the specifics of your booking. Like, what are the official check-in and check-out times? What kind of room did you actually book? Is breakfast included? Parking? Knowing this stuff avoids confusion later.
Absolutely. And here's a smart tip. If you know you're going to be arriving really early or maybe quite late, it's often a good idea to just call the hotel ahead of time.
Oh, why is that?
Well, they can make a note of your expected arrival. And sometimes, depending on whether rooms are ready or not, they might even be able to accommodate an early check-in or perhaps arrange a late checkout if you ask nicely later. A quick call can sometimes smooth things out.
Good tip. Okay, so you've done your prep, you arrive at the hotel lobby. How should you approach the reception desk?
Now, lightness is key here. A friendly demeanor goes a long way. Start with a simple, clear greeting, good morning or good afternoon, I have a reservation under, and then give your full name.
Keep it simple and then listen carefully, right? The receptionist will confirm things, explain hotel policies, maybe mention where the elevators are, Wi-Fi info, amenities.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask polite questions if you're unsure about anything. Like, could you tell me how the Wi-Fi works? Or just confirming, what time does breakfast finish? Asking clearly helps you get settled.
Right. And this is also the moment, if you're feeling optimistic, where you might inquire about an upgrade.
Yes, if you're going to ask, now's the time. But how you ask is important. Again, polite and positive. Maybe start with something simple like, I was wondering, are there any complimentary room upgrades available today?
And is it worth mentioning if it's a special occasion?
Definitely can be. If it's your birthday or an anniversary, you could say something like, it's actually our anniversary today, and we were hoping to make it extra special if possible. It frames it nicely, appeals to their hospitality side. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it can help.
Makes sense. And what if a free upgrade isn't on the cards?
Then it's perfectly okay to ask about the cost of a paid upgrade. What would the rate be for an upgrade to a suite, perhaps? Sometimes the price difference isn't huge, and it might be worth it for you.
Good point. Are there any other tips for maybe increasing your chances of getting any kind of upgrade?
Yeah, a few things might help. Timing can matter. Asking midweek or during the off-season when the hotel is less likely to be full could mean more availability.
Okay.
Mentioning if you're part of their loyalty program is always a good idea. Hotels like to reward repeat guests. And crucially, no matter the outcome, be gracious. Thank them for checking, even if the answer is no. A good attitude really does make a difference.
So true. Okay, beyond upgrades, what about other special requests, like room preferences?
Hotels generally try to accommodate reasonable requests, so don't hesitate to ask politely. You might prefer a room on a higher floor, maybe one with a better view, or perhaps a quiet room away from the noisy elevator or ice machine.
Yeah, a quiet room can make a big difference.
Or you might need something extra, like more pillows, an extra blanket, or maybe inquire if it's possible to get a mini fridge in the room, perhaps if you need it for medication or just keeping drinks cold.
And the advice here is probably to ask in advance if you can.
Ideally, yes. Especially for things like specific room locations or needing a fridge. Making requests when you book or calling ahead gives them more time to try and sort it out for you, particularly if they're busy.
Makes sense. But what happens if, despite all your planning, things don't go smoothly? Like you arrive and your room isn't ready, or there's an issue with the room itself?
Okay, key advice here. Stay calm and stay polite. It can be frustrating, absolutely, if your room isn't ready after a long journey or if something's not working right. But getting angry rarely helps.
Right. So approach it with a, what was the phrase, solutions-oriented attitude.
Exactly. So if the room isn't ready, instead of getting upset, politely ask, is there perhaps a lounge where I could wait? Or would it be possible to store my luggage safely while I maybe grab a coffee nearby?
Okay, proactive and polite. And if the issue is in the, like the air conditioning isn't working.
Same approach. Calmly explain the problem to reception. Excuse me, I seem to be having trouble with the Wi-Fi in my room, or the heating doesn't seem to be working. Ask for help to fix it. Or, if it's a major issue, you could politely inquire, would it be possible to move to another room? Receptionists are generally much more willing and able to help guests who are courteous, even when reporting a problem.
That's a really important takeaway. Politeness goes a long, long way. Okay, so you're checked in. Hopefully everything's sorted. How do you make the most of the rest of your stay?
Well, first, just get familiar with what the hotel offers. Don't be shy about asking the front desk or concierge.
Like asking about the gym, where it is, when it's open.
Exactly. Or asking for recommendations. Could you recommend a good local restaurant nearby? Or asking about attractions or how to get around. They're usually a great source of local info.
And what about checkout time? Sometimes you need a little extra time in the morning.
Yeah, if you think you might need a late checkout, it's best to ask about it relatively early in your stay, not right at the last minute. Politely inquire if it's possible, and, crucially, ask if there's any extra charge associated with it. Sometimes it's free, sometimes there's a fee. Better to know up front.
Good planning. And finally, there's a point about expressing gratitude. Seems simple, but important.
Very important. Just a simple thank you to the staff who helped you at check-in or anyone who assists you during your stay. It means a lot.
Yeah, basic courtesy.
And if you had a really great experience or if someone went above and beyond, consider leaving a positive review online afterwards. Or leaving a tip for housekeeping or other staff who provided exceptional service is always appreciated.
Okay, so let's wrap this section up. Why does getting these elements right, the check-in, the communication actually matter for you, the traveler?
Well, I think it really boils down to communication setting the tone, being prepared, knowing what to expect, and communicating clearly and politely from the very beginning just makes the whole experience smoother and more pleasant.
Right, and knowing how to ask for things nicely, whether it's an upgrade or just an extra towel, and knowing how to handle those little bumps in the road calmly, it really empowers you. You feel more in control of your stay.
Absolutely. And remember, the hotel staff are generally there to help make your stay good. Treating them with courtesy and respect makes them much more likely to want to help you resolve any issues or grant reasonable requests.
Yeah.
It's about building that positive interaction right from the start.
Yeah, it's more than just getting handed a room key, isn't it? It's kind of actively shaping your experience to be as good as it can be. So, as we finish up this deep dive, here's something to think about. How much difference could that little bit of extra preparation, that clear and polite communication, and just maintaining a positive attitude actually make to your next hotel stay? Could focusing on those simple things not only help you breeze through check-in and avoid common frustrations, but maybe, just maybe, like Anthony Roberts in the story, could it unexpectedly open the door to something really memorable? Perhaps even that amazing complimentary upgrade. Something to keep in mind for your next trip.